Tick-tock, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the planet. Welcome to the Waiting for AP show. I think it's a new record for AP. 15 minutes late. That's almost on time for you.
Oh yeah, kind of. So I was just listening to Disturbed.
That hey, isn't that lead singer Jewish? Is the whole band Jewish or just the lead singer?
I think the lead singer is Jew. I don't know about the band. I know that the lead singer is a very open Jew and pro-Israel and stuff.
Hey, that guy. When I posted a pic after our Israel trip, or was it during our Israel trip? During or after, I posted a picture of us in front of the Humvee, and I said, "Nowhere to hide now, jihadis." YouTube took that down as hate speech for saying "nowhere to hide now, jihadis." D Wood and AP standing in front of a Humvee, and anyway, so when I tweeted that, but he retweeted that. That was funny. I was like, "Who's this?" I was like, "Who's this guy?" And
David Dryman, the lead singer of Disturbed, very famous for a very old song called "Down with the Sickness," which you probably don't know, which kind of starts with this sound, ooh, wah. And the funny thing is, since my childhood or my youth, I have been making that sound to myself throughout my life, like ooh, wah, occasionally, because it's kind of an iconic thing from that song. And then
wait. You made the noise because of that song.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you were saying that you independently made the noise and then he did the same thing. Okay.
No, I'm doing it because of that song.
Or less realistically, that he heard you doing it and he said, "Ha, I'll make a song out of this."
Yeah. See, people are typing it in the chat. Ooh, but anyway, so then we went to a concert with my wife. Like when was it? Last year or so. We went to a concert, to a Disturbed concert where he actually performed. They also did this whole thing, this rework of "Hello Darkness, my old friend."
No, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've come to talk with you again.
And the funny thing is, I've been following him since the whole Israel October 7th thing happened. And today, when Piers Morgan blocked me, and then called me an annoying prick,
that was planted in my brain.
The lead singer of Disturbed, David Dryman, actually came to my defense. He started defending me. And I thought, hey, that's kind of awesome.
Of silence.
So
hang on.
All day.
I'll be the judge of that, AP. I will be the judge of that. I'll be the judge of whether you just... Now, guys, everyone just hear AP sharing his fantasy. Oh, the lead singer of the band Disturbed came to my defense against Piers Morgan. Dude, what sort of ridiculous fantasy land you live in? Okay, here we have Piers Morgan. First of all, Piers doesn't even know who you are, so I'm not buying it. But right there, we have Mish right there. Mish, shout out to Mish right there in the comment says, "Hey, Piers Morgan, why did you block Apostate Prophet?" And then Piers Morgan replies, "Because he's an annoying prick, and I have a strict block all annoying pricks policy. Even though, as I'm sure people are about to point out, I happen to be the most annoying prick anyone has ever seen in their entire lives." Look at that. AP moved up to the big leagues. Look, the correct response that he should have given, this wouldn't have been correct, but this is what he should have said, is what I say when people are like, "David, why'd you block me?" And I'm like, one, I have no freaking clue who you are. It's like, if I block you because you're like, you come on my page and you start trying to argue about something that no one's interested in arguing about. And so I'm not going down that road. So I'm just like, all right, let me deal with this now. Block, right? But then if you come back to me the next day, "Why'd you block me?" I was like, I have no idea who you are. But here, she asks about you. "Why'd you block the Apostate Prophet?" And he seems like enraged. "Because he's an annoying prick and I will block all annoying pricks policy." So he knows exactly who you are and was all too happy to defend his right to block you. Hey, it's very interesting. 1,400 people liked that.
I know.
1,400 people liked him blocking the Apostate Prophet.
I saw Muslims coming and liking it and all that. It's kind of funny. Well, he knows who I am. As I said, I was briefly on the list of people to be invited on the show, but then I guess, I don't know, maybe he looked into it and thought they don't actually want to do that, so they did not invite me, and I have been kind of calling him out on his hypocrisy on things. With the most brutal display yet, where I posted a thread of things that Myron said, and then calling him out again because of his hypocrisy, because of his refusal to host Tommy Robinson while having an actual open Hitler Nazi fan on his show. His response to that was to block me and call me an annoying prick.
No, hang on. Just to be clear. So, when he actually blocked you,
yes,
based on what you were posting at the time, it seems like his reason for blocking you was you were exposing his hypocrisy. He's saying, yes, I can't have Tommy Robinson on the show because of Tommy's unsavory views, and I do not want to give a platform to such unsavory views. He actually has objections to Islam. He said that, and then you replied, why are you getting all these anti-Semites on your show who do nothing but whine about Jews all day long? Why is that acceptable, and what Tommy is doing is not acceptable? His response was to block you, and then when he's called out for blocking you, his response is that you're an annoying prick.
Yes.
Annoying prick. So an annoying prick for Piers Morgan is someone who says, hey, Pierce, you said this, but you're violating your own rule because you say it's because you don't want people with bad views on your show. And yet it seems every time we see your show, it's got people with some very, very bad. It's like you scour the planet looking for the dregs of society, the worst people on the internet to come and be on your show to get views. And yet Tommy's off limits. Sounds like you got a problem here. That's unacceptable to Pierce. And then he has to block you.
Precisely.
Let's check out. We have Angela here. Pierce Morgan, Jew hater, welcome to... Oh, here we go. That's him. Pierce Morgan, Jew hater, welcome to my show. Skeptical about Islamic jihad, blocked, you annoying prick. We see you. That's good. Hey, there's your buddy. But apparently annoying pricks that engage pure anti-Semitic. BS are absolutely welcome. Keep counting those clicks, buddy. Wow.
Yeah. So it was kind of
clicks, buddy. And dude, that is interesting. That's a Jewish guy calling out Pierce for his hypocrisy. But anything is calling him out for his hypocrisy for blocking someone who called out his hypocrisy about Jews. Interesting.
It is pretty funny, and it is kind of I don't know, when I saw that this guy actually came to my defense here, I thought, hey, that's really all my life. I spent my whole life saying, ooh, and also have been listening to his version of Sound of Silence, and he is coming to my defense. It's just awesome, man.
And in the naked light I saw 10,000 comments blasting Pierce. Mish says, oh, of course, pricks are annoying. Jew-hating anti-Semites are good. Thank you for clearing that up. Which, keep in mind, that's exactly what he's saying, guys. That's exactly what he's saying. If he's saying, hey, I don't let bad people on my show, but he's letting all the anti-Semites in the world on his show, what's he saying? He's saying these aren't the bad guys. Hi, Pierce. Where would you say this lands on your prickometer? And it's got some stuff all from Myron here, talking trash about Jews. Khaled Hassan here. Literally millions of people find you to be an annoying prick. I know. He's like if you're an American and you try to think what's an annoying British prick like Pierce Morgan is instantly going to pop in your head. He's going to be the first one to pop in your head.
Yeah.
Millions find you to be an annoying prick, myself included, but I never blocked you because it's against my values to respect free speech. You say you won't have Islamophobes on your show, but you have self-declared Hitler lovers. Ouch.
Yeah. Yep.
Oi, mate Pierce, would you say you're a free speech absolutist? Yeah, me neither. Picking on the small guys. Wow. That's an atrocious double standard, Pierce. There's zero logic in stating that Apostate Prophet is annoying whilst platforming blatantly pro-Nazi and proudly anti-Semitic actual pricks. Apparently, you also have a strict have all anti-Semites on my show policy. You evil anti-Semitism. Look at this. This is funny, man. Everyone's on your side. Yeah, I'm not buying that story. You actually invite pricks onto your show. That's true. Your show should be called Pierce Morgan Censored. AP called you out. You ran. You invite the worst kind of Nazis on your show of annoying pricks, but an intelligent apostate of Islam with a good sense of humor who stands up against the anti-Semitism he was taught growing up as a Muslim is too much for you? Oh, my goodness, man. They are cooking Pierce, man.
I know.
They're cooking him. That's
I would be maybe I don't know, maybe a while ago, maybe a year ago or so, I would be more outraged about the fact that he actually not only disinvited me, but also blocked me. Meanwhile, I have kind of come to, I don't know, I'm not even really angry about it. I'm not even upset about it. I just find it kind of funny, ironic. I also had a conversation with somebody who was like, who was very close to, the circle and to people who are frequently on Piers Morgan. And I sat with her and I said, why aren't you going on his show? You could do that. And she said to me, because I don't want to. And I also tell all the others who go there not to go there because it's a clown show. Because he's not actually inviting people to have a productive conversation with them. He's just inviting people to have sensationalism there and to lower the quality of the dialogue. There is no point in going.
Hold on. You're saying that the guy who got crackhead Barney on his show in full costume with the neck brace, that guy is about sensationalism. That's right. He's trying to make it he's not going full like Jerry Springer show, but he wants to take the parts of the Jerry Springer show that could help him and get more clicks. But it's just amazing that, hey, I want a free-for-all on some very sensitive issues, and I want to get in some of the most despicable people on the planet to start a big argument. But everyone, I want it to be clear, no one can ever say one word about Islam or the Quran or Prophet Muhammad.
That's true. That's what they do. That's what they do. But Amichai Kohlberg said Yoel was really happy when he... What was it? What was it? AP? Yoel was very happy when he was told that AP subscribed to his channel. That's very nice. Yeah, I only found out yesterday who that is. Yoel. What's it? Hangouts? Yeah, I subscribed to him. Cool. Shout out to Yoel.
Nice. So, we're talking about arrogant British people doing what they do best, being arrogant. Keep in mind, I'm not talking about all you British people. I'm talking about
very redundant.
This particular person. Yeah.
Arrogant British people is very redundant. That makes no sense. Why are you saying it?
Well, it turns out there are some people who aren't because they've been oppressed by British people all their lives, even though they're British. So the gypsies,
you know what's funny?
The gypsies and the gingers is what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. The gypsies and the gingers have been beat down all their lives, and so they're the ones who aren't too proud.
You know what's funny? Over the last year or so, I had to find out from our comment section and our community that British people are surprisingly thin-skinned. It's like when we sit here and we say some critical things about British people, they quickly get very upset about it. I didn't think that. I thought they were more like they could take some harsh criticism or some mockery.
Yeah, you say a few words about, hey, I'm glad, looking at what's going on in your country, I'm glad we saw it coming centuries ago and dumped all your stupid tea in our stupid harbor. And we're glad that a couple of farmers with pitchforks stood up against the entire British army and sent you back I was about to make fun of your whatever food there, but I can't think of any food you have. Fish and chips? Chips? Send you back to your fish and chips. Like in French, you could say croissant or something. But bangers and mash. You got bangers and mash. Set you back to your pubs, buddy. Anyway,
be careful. Don't say anything funny about British people. They might say, I'm unsubscribing. I'm unsubscribing now. I was following you all this a while, but I can't take this any longer. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. No gratitude whatsoever. You were just talking yesterday about people who didn't absorb any sort of gratitude. The British people, they didn't absorb any gratitude. I mean, face it, if it wasn't for us, you and me, AP, good red-blooded Americans, if it weren't for us good red-blooded Americans, these guys would all be speaking German.
Yes.
Or assuming Russia saved you, you'd be the smallest province in the Russian Empire. How would that make you feel?
If it wasn't for us Americans, where would you be now?
For us red-blooded Americans. Let's take these first couple super chats, and then we've already commented on one annoying British person. We're going to watch a non-annoying British person, one of the few, Douglas Murray. And he's going through some very, speaking of disturbed, he's going to be going through some disturbing statistics on the beliefs and views of young British people. And guys, if these are the views of your young people, you'd better do something about the views of your young people, or you have already lost, and the future is only getting worse for you. All the stuff you're worried about going on now, it's going to get worse if these are your young people. We're going to check that out and look at more evidence why Piers Morgan is going to be doomed.
Says not all Muslims are British, but all Brits are Muslims.
Where'd you see that?
In the chat, Per Holstrand said.
I'm gonna steal that. That's funny. Oh boy. Here we have Stefan. Dad went to UK in 60s, was a great country for him. Yeah, 60s. He was probably pretty good. Now, not so much. What's the update with Comedy Central? Dawa did Allah abrogate his YouTube account? Wait, is his YouTube account gone?
Some people asked me if his YouTube account was taken down. I'm not sure. I haven't checked. I didn't even.
I will look it up.
I don't know. I don't know. I forwarded everything to the FBI. I gave everything to the FBI. I talked to them, and I left
Central
it to them.
Dawa. No, his account's still up.
I didn't follow it any further. So
his YouTube account is there, ladies and gentlemen.
The FBI is dealing with him. I have no business with him. Central Dawa. Comedy Central Dawa.
Nope, his YouTube account is officially up. So if you want some super powerful dawa, go visit Central Dawa. And if you want over $100,000 in cash, just annoy him. He'll threaten you and then let people know, and they will send you piles of money. Thank you, Central Dawa, for enriching Islamophobes everywhere. Let's see. Friday, Tokyo time. God bless, bros. Is it Friday? Huh. I guess it is.
In Tokyo, it is.
In Tokyo. If David and AP goes to a Quran burning event, would it be considered a barbecue? Oh, because
Yes.
we eat it? Yeah. But he don't want to have Tommy. What a douche. Yeah, I know. All the people he has, and then no Tommy. Let's guys, here's again the thing. If he wants to say, I don't want people on my show who have who have negative views of other groups and so on. Okay, if that was your position, fine. Apply that consistently, and do not have people like Myron Gaines on. You shouldn't. When you do, it becomes obvious whatever you're saying about Tommy, that's not your real reason. Pierce's real reason is he doesn't want is either or a combination of the two. Either, as we pointed out, they have the British elite class with the posh accent. They have a very low view of the working class and want them to keep their mouths shut. We do not want to hear you under any circumstances. Go work and shut up. And they don't want to let those guys start thinking that they actually can share their views with the world. So that's that. And the other thing is he doesn't want people going after Islam on his show. So he's part of the main problem in Great Britain, which is blast anything and everything, especially British culture, blast the Jews, blast America, blast everyone, blast Christianity, do anything you want, just under no circumstances should you blast the group that is trying to violently subjugate us and groom our daughters and all these things.
Well, that would be racist.
Yep. Jack Ray says, it's strange Pierce has not blocked himself as he has a block all annoying policy. Wouldn't that be funny if Pierce says, after realizing I'm in a bit of a quandary here. I said that I block all annoying pricks and yet haven't blocked myself. So, therefore, to right this wrong, I'm shutting down my own account and turning off my show.
That's powerful. It is good, though, that you gave me a new name for my, that also abbreviates again into AP, which is annoying prick.
What's this? Random quiz. Does it bother Ada of you that if AP, God forbid, goes away, D Wood will feel nothing, not stirring the pot? Please, just curious. Love you both and God bless.
Learn to spell English. Learn to write in English. What is
his name is Augustus Kaiser, man. He's part Roman emperor and part German ruler.
Does it bother either of you that if IP, God forbid, goes away, that David will feel nothing, not stirring the pot? Please, just curious. Love you both and God bless. No, there's something oddly comforting about knowing that there will be nothing but calm when disaster strikes. It don't bother me at all.
Yeah, you think AP is going to be crying himself to sleep every night? If I die, David will not shed a single tear.
You think I'm gonna?
Someone has to maintain order.
Do you think I'm gonna cry after I'm dead? Thinking, why is David Wood not crying after me?
He did not leak any weird salty goop out of his eyes. It's the end of the world.
Oh no!
Since we believe in Jesus' bodily ascension and that he is king of all creation, it means one Jew literally runs the world. Clanday's head explodes. That is true. That's what she does. Pierce now have the Momos and the anti-Semitic audience that's easily 4 billion clicks like Candace and Tucker. It's all about the money. That is interesting, right? Like there is this massive audience out there who will love you if you just start blasting away at Jews and so on, especially if you blast away at Jews and block all criticism and questioning of Islam.
That's what they do.
So they might be thinking towards the future, like this is the way we're headed and we need to jump on board now. AP, now you know how I feel every time you're answering my messages.
That's awesome.
AP's like, I don't answer annoying pricks. AP, are those X2HRs? I'm wearing the same ones. We are literally matching right now.
These?
Oh, I didn't know if they were talking about your beads or your headphones or what.
X2HR, that's right, yes.
Solomon Lundy, born on a Monday.
They're pretty solid.
Is it morally acceptable to threaten people into buying Robert Spencer books?
Yes.
Yes. You can threaten them with any number of punishments. Debate topic. Was Muhammad of the people of Lot? Diha Al-Kalbi says yes.
That's funny.
Diha must have ravaged Muhammad really badly to have him come up with the eyes are the leather strap of the anus to explain his condition. It's kind of gross to think about, but yes, that legitimately that could be tied together. So guys, it doesn't say it. It doesn't say it. What the sources say is that Muhammad would go behind a curtain and have little meetings with Diha Al-Kalbi, and then a dude went behind the curtain once, and he found Muhammad sleeping on Diha's map, and then Muhammad wakes up, and he says, this other guy's lap, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here? I thought it was someone else." And the guy said, "Yeah, it's Diha Al-Kalbi whose lap you're resting on." Muhammad says, "No, that was the angel Gabriel. He just happens to look exactly like Diha Al-Kalbi." And then he started training like all his wives and stuff that when he's with Diha Al-Kalbi for his special meetings, that's really his meetings with the angel Gabriel and so on. So you've got that. You've got all these sources where he's covered in semen. And then you have this eyes of the leather strap of the anus stuff, which is about stuff leaking out of you when you're asleep. And so you don't know what's coming out of your rear end during your sleep and so on. So anyway, yeah, it sounds like Muhammad was doing quite a bit of experimenting back then. But it was normal for the culture, so who are you to judge? I'm Ginger. We're not judging. We're not judging. We're just pointing out, like, okay, he can come out the closet now. It's the 21st century. Muslims can bring him out of the closet and say, yes, he was a proud member of the LGBTQ community.
Hezbollah says, I'm Ginger. So that I don't believe you, because then why are you here? You would be a Muslim if you're Ginger. Gingers are Muslim converts.
Gingers all convert to Islam.
Yeah.
No comment from Illustrate Life. Thank you, though, for the super chat. Famous people in politics should not have blocking option. I like his show, but he is a coward. He is definitely a coward. Make sure he knows it. British girl. Only, mate, did I just get... Oh, instead of Syrian girl. Oi, mate, did I just get nuked? Syrian. For anyone who doesn't know what that's about, anytime there's some sort of big explosion, Syrian girl would post, did Israel just nuke Syria?
The funny thing about this is that she is in Australia. I wonder if she has an Australian accent by now. No, she doesn't. She sounds like an idiot.
She sounds like an idiot. Like there's a certain way of speaking in any language that makes you sound like an idiot, and she's that. That's her accent.
Guys, the terrorist attack, people are saying there's Ukraine behind it, but I think it's actually Israel. Israel is behind this terrorist attack right now.
Did they nuke them?
Believe me, and then they ask for evidence, but I can give you evidence. Here's this tweet that somebody made. So yeah,
That's how she talks.
It is pretty awful and terrible and horrible. And wow, Stefan says, "I'm German, so I don't have a sense of humor." That's true. Never met a German with even a slight sense of humor at all. We will conquer the world. We don't have time for this. David, have you looked at simultaneous brightness contrast yet? It is the proof. No, I have not. Hey, we have Slutty Cupcake 7 here. What do British men and trans men have in common? Sometimes trans men have balls. Well, no, that would not be in common.
Powerful.
It should be, how are British men different from trans men? Some trans men have balls. Or you could say, how are British men different from trans women? Some trans women have balls. That's what you should say.
That's true.
If you want some powerful dawah, go to the toilet. The most powerful dawah. Any tips for starting an Islam critique channel? I would pick someone particular to start responding to. Pick a dawah person who's posting. Watch some of that person's stuff and make responses to that person, to that person's arguments. Make your responses good. Make them epic. Make them so that they completely destroy what the person is saying. And keep repeating that. That's how you do it.
That's what they do.
Bought Tommy's book, Manifesto, Based British Men. He's the one. Two deer are walking out of a gay bar when one says to the other, I can't believe I blew $40. What is wrong with these people, man? Got me reading weird stuff. You buy Craig's systematic philosophical theology? I don't know if you mean like actually purchase it or
do you believe
agree with it. AP, don't tell gay P how to survive
Sharia law.
No, it's Sharia law.
Sharia law.
He may forget to pay jizya peacefully. Lord Ezra only knows.
Powerful. That's a good point. That's a very, very good point.
It's an extremely good point. It's an extremely good point. So did Muhammad not like dogs because he didn't like competition for the role of Diha's lapdog? I'm just asking questions. I can't figure out what it is, but I think there is some connection that Diha was called he was called Diha al-Kalbi, Diha the dog. They called this guy the dog. It's not because he's like ugly or something like that. He was known as the handsomest guy in Arabia. It was said that when he would show up to town, the women of the town would come out to look at him. That's how hot this guy is. And so you've got Diha the dog, but then the angel Gabriel doesn't like dogs. And then Muhammad orders his followers to kill all dogs. And it's like, wait, was he like in the middle of a breakup with Diha? They're in a rough patch, so he goes to war and tries to send him a message by slaughtering all dogs and so on. I don't know. There seems to be some connection there. Diha versus Dhul Qarnayn, the battle for Momo's booty. That's the one.
I think the whole thing about we can joke about it all we want, and of course it is kind of a good joke, but I think the whole episode, the whole instance of Muhammad being angry at dogs and then ordering the killing of the dogs, it strikes me as one of those those very big instances and signs that Muhammad had problems, where so the narrative is basically that he's waiting for Jibril to come and to appear, and Jibril just won't come, just won't appear. He's getting really upset and really mad, and eventually he sees a dog inside his home, and he removes the dog, and then Jibril comes. Then he says that Jibril doesn't like dogs and all dogs should be killed.
And who is Jibril? Who is Jibril here? Diha al-Kalbi. Is it possible that he got his nickname Diha the dog as mockery because he was scared of dogs?
Maybe.
And that the reason he wouldn't go over to service Muhammad was that there was a dog in Muhammad's house, and then so Muhammad's like, I will prove my love to you, Diha al-Kalbi. I will kill all dogs in the entire world. You will be my only puppy.
But maybe he had some really like genuine hallucinations and some really messed up things, and he was like imagining certain dogs as Diha al-Kalbi and as also Jibril at the same time. So he was kind of so maybe he was actually spending some time banging dogs, thinking that they are Diha al-Kalbi.
Yeah, he's like, bring al-Kalbi to me. I need al-Kalbi, which would just mean bring me the dog. Would just mean bring me the dog. Bring me the dog. But then, it was dark and they brought him a real dog. And we all know what happened.
And they said, no, dog. I said the dog. By the dog, I mean the dog. Dog, what's wrong with you? Yeah.
Weird stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Weird stuff. And it's kind of like we have all this weird stuff in the sources and we try to make sense of it. But there's enough wiggle room. There's enough wiggle room that you can come up with all sorts of different interpretations of things. Wait. Oh, I was about to click on the video. Some more super chats came in. What is this? Oh, here we go. We need more P. Vogel, but UK struck back with hijab. Who's P. Vogel?
I don't know why there's some weirdo in the chat here. Some talking trash about white people and Christians.
What?
And Jews. What the hell?
Where?
What's wrong?
Where? What's the name? What's the name?
I banned him. I blocked him.
Oh, okay. Ha! In your face! That's what you get. Stefan said, oh, why did AP block someone and call me out for blocking? Isn't that hypocrisy? Stefan says, we need more P. Vogel, but UK struck back with hijab. You know what that is?
Pierre Vogel is an apologist and a da'wah guy in Germany.
Oh,
he's kind of like the German version of Mohammed Hijab.
Oh yeah. Wait, is he the guy who gives speeches, but he sounds like Hitler?
Yeah, the guy who yells all the time. Yeah.
You were close, David. Looks like I was born on a Sunday. Guess that's why you're not the prophet in the stream. This is Solomon Lundy, born on a Monday.
Huh.
A man was attacked in London for burning a Quran near the Turkish embassy today. Can I get a green card? Is that true?
I saw it. I saw somewhere a video briefly of somebody burning a Quran and then getting attacked. I didn't really
look that up and give us an update real quick. Breaking news, and then we'll get into this Douglas Murray clip. Fatawad said, you guys should watch Tommy on Good Morning Britain when you have the time, Pierce's old show, or clip of it I sent AP. Ah, maybe he humiliated Pierce back in the day, and Pierce is still a bit sore about it. Just a wee high also, thank you, Michelle. Just a wee high as a ginger before I had alopecia. There are some of us who see Islam for the evil it is. Well, I have to say, it may be good for all gingers to get alopecia because that might help them not be... People don't realize it because we're not familiar with this. Gingers in the UK are treated differently by lots of people. Like we don't... I've never seen a redhead be treated differently in the U.S., except for people like point out, redhead or something like that. But... yeah, they've got this entire class of persecuted gingers over in the UK, and Dawa guys take advantage of this. See, look how they persecute you, but in Islam you would be a hero of people everywhere. And they fall for it. Maybe Muhammad had the dog removed because Dia didn't want competition. That's true. Dia's like, Dia al-Kalbi's like, Muhammad, it's these other dogs or me. Take your pick. And Muhammad's like, oh, it's such a very difficult choice, but I choose you, Dia. I will kill all these other dogs to show my love for you. What kind of weirdness is it? Advice for British Christian family wanting to live in U.S. Yeah, apply for some sort of visa. Come over here, work for a while, and then apply to stay.
Knife man attacks man burning Quran on London street. Protester rushed to hospital as police make arrest after violent confrontation outside Turkish consulate.
Wait, he got stabbed or?
A knife-wielding thug attacked a man who was allegedly burning the Quran outside the Turkish consulate in London. That's what it says. Terrifying footage cut to him lying on the road where he was being kicked violently by another man. Could be seen spitting, having snatched the burning book off of him, attempting to slash the man with a knife as he was on the floor. This is from the Daily Mail. Huh.
Wild, wild, wild. Are we learning yet, people? Would be funny if Vocab walked into the room dressed up as Muhammad at the end of your debate with Robert Spencer. Yeah, it's funny. Vocab will be there, but he can't have his costume because he's got like a fake bomb vest, and I wouldn't even trust. You definitely don't want to bring that even like in your luggage on the plane or something like that, or some questions are going to pop up. Elon says, speaking about British youth, what do you think about the youth? That's not funny. The euthanasia. Get it? Euthanasia.
Yeah.
What, you thought that was funny? My Muslim neighbors were kind of friendly to us until we got a dog. Now they won't even look at us. Yeah, there are. It was interesting because I had a dog, and I remember Nabil came over to my house for the first time. He like froze, was just his body froze when he saw a dog. And dogs can sense when something's wrong, right? Apparently, because then that makes the dogs more like, whoa, this guy's an enemy. Something's wrong here. They can somehow sense it. And then so the dog starts growling and barking, which freaks out Nabil even more. Anyway, fun times. Muhammad was eating the dog. Muhammad was eating the dog. Trump. Eating the dog. He was eating Dia al-Kalbi. I'm catching up on old streams you had. Apparently, while I was in reserves, you guys were in my hometown, Bat Yam. I'm glad you enjoyed the shawarma. That's over like Tel Aviv, right? Is that the place we're in?
Yeah, that was the so Bat Yam is a smaller city.
Hey Mosh, when we were there, we were told that was like it used to be the rougher like crime area. So you're from that area, from the rougher like crime area.
Yeah, they told us that was an early settlement for some problematic people, like Russian crime and things like that.
So now we know Mosh's background. He is
he's a criminal Russian mafia.
He's a Russian criminal. It's good to know. It's good to know. We have a good group here. We have all the people from all the crime zones. We have Australians. Got Bat Yam. Got it all. And I have a bad case of diarrhea. Yeah, it is very bad. All right, everyone. Shout out to Mosh Cohen for the channel memberships there as well. Now, let's go ahead and check out some disturbing stuff from the latest polling. Here's Douglas Murray.
I'm Douglas Murray.
No, you're not.
This is Direct Address. A poll out this week found that just 41% of young British people felt proud to be British. Just 41%.
Everyone catch that? So the young people are given a poll. Said, are you proud to be British? Only 41% of young people said yes. 41% of young people said they're proud to be British. So let's go.
Of people in the 18 to 27 age bracket. This has caused quite a lot of comment.
Oh, whoa. I put British youth. He said 18 to 27. Oh, that's even worse. Hang on. Let me back up. Let me make sure I got that right. I said British youth. You're just talking about British young men and women.
I'm Douglas Murray. This is Direct Address. A poll out this week found that just 41% of young British people.
See, when you say young people, I think you're talking about kids, but apparently he's talking about young men and women.
Felt proud to be British. Just 41% of people in the 18 to 27 age bracket.
That's bad. Those are your fighting age people. Those are your family making people. Those are the people who are deciding whether to, start a family and have kids and so on. And most of them are not proud to be British. It's about to get worse, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm looking at this thing right now, so I found his article, in which he also talks about this, but I also found another article that references a study, which I need to look into, by the Times. And it says that in 2004, the Times survey found that 80% of young Britons were proud of their country.
He's literally about to talk about that.
Today, the number has fallen to just 41%.
You guys understand how bad that is? 20 years, 2 decades, and people who are proud of being British drops from 80% to 41%. It gets cut in half. That is bad, and you wonder why the problems. We're going to talk about this. There's your problems, ladies and gentlemen. Really, really bad. Because, as you're about to see, if you don't like your country or you think your country is bad, something not to be proud of, do you want to fight to preserve it?
This is sad, man.
Nope. You'll be cheering. You will be cheering for the people who are going to come along and conquer you because you deserve it, because you have nothing to be proud of in your country.
This has caused quite a lot of comment and some concern, not least because 20 years ago, when the same question was asked, the results were very different. In 2004, when young Britons were asked whether or not they felt proud to be British, fully 80% of young Britons polled said that yes, they felt proud to be British.
Jeez.
The same results can be found in basically every Western European country. Central and Eastern Europe is a rather different matter.
He's pointing out there, Central and Eastern Europe, different matter. Meaning, Poland, places like Poland, they probably haven't had that same quick drop-off. Western European countries, he said, it's basically the same wherever you go. If you go back 20 years, significant majorities would have said, yes, we're proud. We're proud to be French or, it's weird even saying it, but French or Spanish or any of these other countries and so on. Whereas now those numbers will have been cut in half. These numbers will have been cut in half. Interesting, weird stuff.
But in every Western European country, it's a pretty similar result. It's a pretty similar result in Canada, and you find really pretty similar results in the United States of America as well. A recent poll in the US asked people whether or not they felt extremely proud to be American. And among young Americans, 18%, just 18% said that they were extremely proud to be an American. And that's different.
I have an issue here with the question asked. So I want to see that.
That one was extremely proud. So yeah, they can mess around with the questions and so on. But what's weird for me is when I was in elementary school, just as part of ordinary music class in America, everyone learned, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And now, not so proud.
That song doesn't make any sense, by the way.
It says he's proud to be an American, where at least he knows he's free.
I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. What does that even mean?
Because there are places where you wouldn't know you're free.
Okay, but you're an American, where at least I know I would understand if it says proud to be in America.
Who at least knows he's free?
Yeah.
So, or he should say, and I'm proud to be in America, where at least I know I'm free. You see, this is why you don't. We all understand the meaning. You Turkish, German, weird hybrid. Anyway.
I always have to get stuck on these things.
Yep, always. This is what AP does. You're like, wow, what a great thing. No, it's wrong. Look at this. It's not even grammatically correct. Where's the umlaut? It needs an umlaut on there. Yeah, guys, these are actually extremely dangerous things. In fact, if you can't conquer someone militarily, if you are incapable of conquering someone militarily, the most important thing you can do to a nation is to get them to hate themselves. Because if they hate themselves, they will actually be rooting for someone else to come and take them over. They're so bad, we just deserve it. And the only good thing that can happen is for someone else to come over and take us over. That's how you conquer them if you can't conquer them militarily. And that's exactly where we're all at right now.
From every other age group. For instance, among people over the age of 55, around 50% of people said that they were extremely proud to be American. It's not...
Who at least know they're free.
Surprising, first of all, that there are some consequences from all of this. Another poll recently found that...
It would be funny if someone tried to make it grammatically up to AP's standards, but AP still struggles with various pronouns and stuff like that because he's foreign. But so he would be like, and I'm proud to be an American, whomst at least knows he's free. Whomst.
American. It's not surprising, first of all, that there are some consequences from all of this. Another poll recently found that just 11% of young Britons, 11%, would be willing to fight for their country. And that again caused a lot of alarm when it came out. People said, how can only 11% of young people be willing to fight for their country? I would have said it's pretty obvious. If you've been told all your life that your country is rotten, absolutely everything about it is terrible, no redeeming features at all, that it's all racist, based in slavery and colonialism and so on, why on earth would you fight for it?
You guys get that? So the result is that, what did he say, 11%? 11% of young British men and women would be willing to fight for their country if required. You got roughly 90% of the population, not 90% of the population of young people saying we wouldn't fight for this place. We would not fight for this place. Why? Why? Because it's bad. It's terrible. It's a force for evil and wickedness, and it's done nothing but harm the world. And we're better off if we all get destroyed. These are the same people who are cheering on the influx of jihadists and Islamists and so on. But I mean, think about that difference there. Muslims are taught to be proud of being Muslim. Even though, look at the histories, 14 centuries of conquering and pillaging and torturing and raping women and so on, taking sex slaves. I mean, Muhammad bought, owned, sold, and traded black African slaves more than 1,000 years before the United States even existed. But Muhammad's something to be proud of, extremely proud of. Muhammad's something to go around conquering the world in his name. But other people, no, you need to be in a state of perpetual shame over things that happened centuries ago. And there's no redemption for any wrong thing. And not only that, if you've done anything wrong at any point in your past, it doesn't matter how much good you've done in the world, you're just bad, and it's better. And the only atonement you could possibly get is to have a bunch of people who mindlessly obey the ramblings of an illiterate 7th century Arabian caravan robber who had sex with a prepubescent little girl, just mindlessly going along with everything that guy says. And so what do? Just hand over your 12-year-olds, hand over your 12-year-olds, hand over your 12-year-olds. This is your atonement. This is your atonement. Because you've gone pagan, ladies and gentlemen. You've gone pagan. You are pagans offering up your daughters on an altar to try to atone. Sick stuff. Sick stuff. So 11% of young British people are willing to stand up for their country. And you wonder why your country is being destroyed right in front of your faces.
Why would you risk laying down your life for a country that's rotten? And so this stuff actually has very, very significant effects. Now, many people are saying at the moment, how did this happen? Why did it happen? And there's a very straightforward answer to that. It's been taught. Mm-hmm. It's been taught. That's it. Over 20 years, in Britain, as in America, Canada, Western Europe, and other democracies, young people have been taught that their countries are rotten. In America, we've just gone through a period of more than 10 years where young Americans were told that even the most basic things that would have been taught to them a generation ago have to be reframed. Remember the 1619 Project, done by a set of pseudo-historians with the backing of the New York Times? They even changed the birth date of America to 1619. And they did all of these picture books for kindergarteners and school textbooks, which said the same thing. Even dramatizations of this turgid and untrue work. All of it saying, actually, American history starts from the moment that the first slaves were brought across the Atlantic.
Isn't that weird? Why would you mark that as the beginning of something?
That's very, very strange.
It's like we'll mark the beginning of Mecca from the first moment African slaves were brought there. It's like, wait, what? I don't know.
Into North America. So the idea was America's just racist. Britain, of course, is not just racist, but colonialist.
Oh, yeah. If you want to frame America as racist, then yeah, you say America started with slaves. So once slaves then that's when America started. You see, it's always been racist. Okay, that makes sense.
And, of course, everyone's just a slaver in our past. A poll 3 years ago found that almost half of young British people agreed with the phrase that the UK was founded on racism. If I chortle a bit about that, it's because it's so utterly laughable.
The UK was founded on racism, everyone. That's what young people believe.
Anyone who knows anything about British history knows that it is based on an awful lot of things, and racism has next to nothing to do with it.
It was
what
based.
Is racist about the Magna Carta?
Oh, very racist. Look at the paper. It's white.
Does anyone know? No, there's nothing in it that's racist. It's one of the founding documents of Britain, but no, that's also meant to be racist. Everything is meant to have been looked at in this light. And if you go to almost any cultural institution, not to mention educational institution in the UK, you will find this message beaten into you all the time. Go to the British Museum and go to the bookshop and you'll see that everything is about the evil of the British Museum, the evil of the British past. Go to the Tate Britain and you'll find the same thing.
So make people hate their own country, convince them that their country was founded on racism, and that they're all racist, and then send in an endless supply of Pakistani jihadis and rapists. And the only way you can, and if you object to what they're doing, if you object to what they're doing to 12-year-old girls, hey, what are you doing, man? You're being racist. It's exactly what the people, the police, the politicians, the judges, the prosecutors, the social workers, it's exactly why they let these guys continue doing this to 12-year-old girls. They didn't want to be called racist. So you convince the population, hey, you have a racist past. Don't you agree that's evil? Yes, yes, yes. Well, you don't want to. You want to be different from the racists of the past. You want to be one of the good people, right? That's right. Good. Now we can control you. Because anytime you do something that we do not want you to do, we scream racist, and you will fall into line instantly. You have made yourself a population of what are called soft targets for manipulators. Anyone can make you do anything. You could walk down the street and say, hey, stand on one leg. You say, what? Well, why am I going to stand on one? If you don't stand on one leg, you're a racist. Oh, okay, I'll stand on, I'm not a racist. Look, I'm standing on one leg. You can do anything you want to these people now. They've fallen for it.
Everything in the British past is just bad. Now, this is part of what the French writer Renaud Camus has called the Great Deculturization, or the Great Deculturation. What he meant by that is that to really demoralize a people, to really demoralize a country, you have to strip their culture away from them. You have to take it away from them. You have to say there's nothing good in it, nothing that they should or could feel pride in. And that's been done not just to every aspect of history, but to every hero in our history. America is hopefully at the moment coming out of this phase to a great degree. It's just slightly moving out of that phase where everyone has to believe that all the founding fathers were wicked, Abraham Lincoln was no good, and there's just nothing really to be filled pride in America.
It's good. He's noticing that. So he's saying, hey, you have this big trend, and he said it's in Western Europe. It's across Western Europe. It's in Canada and the United States, and basically the exact same thing has been happening. You go back 20 years, people are generally proud of their countries and so on, and now, no, we're forces of evil, and we're better off just being conquered. And he's saying, hey, it does look like America's coming out of it. I would say it's we've seen signs that are good. Watch very carefully, ladies and gentlemen, because these things can change very quickly. These things can change. We've seen some positive signs very recently, but be careful, because we've seen how quickly people can be mass manipulated.
I have to say, so I was just looking at some graphs, some illustrations, and some data put together of different questions asked to populations across the Western world, including whether they agree with the statement, my country is the best country in the world, or my country is better than most countries. And this one is from 2016, for example. Britain is an extraordinarily bad place when it comes to pride. It's like, you would expect Germans to be less proud, but Germans are more proud of their country than British people are. British people are just weaklings. You have in the US still, for example, when you look at the data, people who say my country is the best country in the world, in the US 41% of people said my country is the best country in the world, whereas 32% said my country is better than most countries. So 73% in general think that their country in the US think their country is better, whereas only 17% say my country is as good as most other countries, and then only 4% say it's worse than others, and only 1% says it's the worst country in the world. So, the U.S. seems quite stable, in terms of
1% say it's the worst country in the world, and sadly,
Yeah,
those 1% form a Democrat voting bloc called the Squad in Congress.
The Squad.
The Squad.
Squash the Squad.
But yeah, the thing is, when you say now that only 11% of the country says that they would fight for their country, that they would defend their country, it seems a little bit sad. But to be honest, when it came to the last existential war for the UK, it was actually only it was like 10% of the nation that actually fought. So that's what it comes down to anyway. But yeah, the situation is a little bit sad. But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? How are people going to be instilled more positive things about their being, about their existence, about their culture, about the Western culture, about their countries, and so on? How is it going to change? What are you really going to do? Like, I understand, and I complain about it very, very often. I just went live early because there was a terrorist attack in Germany, and I complained about it again, about how messed up and how ridiculous and how dumb Western nations have become. But then, how do we change it? What do you tell people to make them more self-aware and to make them prouder and so on?
Because you've got a very short window of time. Once you convince the young generation that their country is bad and that they're better being subjugated by other people, and that if they don't want to be subjugated by other people, they're actually racist. See, I don't want to be subjugated by those people. Oh, then you're racist. What are you talking? I don't want to be subjugated by anyone, period. But definitely not by these guys here who are screaming Allahu Akbar and saying they want child marriage and that they, I do not want to be, oh, you see, it's because you don't like, no, I don't want to be subjugated by anyone, but definitely not by these guys who have these really, really bad ideas. Then you're racist, right? You can't, once you fall for that and you're like, no, we are racist, please subjugate. You have a very, very short window of time, ladies and gentlemen, before you're just wiped out and there's no recovering. You've got a matter of decades. You've got a matter of a few decades. And even in those few decades, if you somehow eventually snap out of it, you may have done irreparable harm to the future of your country, like something that you will never recover from. So you better figure out a way to snap out of this real quick, like. Or not looking good. Going to have to. The only people who are going to be happy about this, about these changes in Western Europe right now, one, jihadis, and two, map makers. Because map makers love it. Map makers love it when something goes from Great Britain to Britanistan. They love it because then everyone has to buy new maps. What? What are you laughing at?
Nothing. Just thought of something funny.
I bet you did. Take a couple super chats real quick. Mosh says, lol, yeah, those were the good old days, talking about bat yam. Hey, Mosh. Hey, Mosh, when me and AP always talk about the best sandwich we ever had in the world, it was there in bat yam.
Yeah.
Muhammad was working on a word salad and got distracted by the word, what is that?
Charcuterie. Charcuterie.
Why are you grinning?
Nothing.
D. Murray should learn how to speak Masab.
True.
Your fying Trump is selling out Ukraine. Shame. Is he? Is he doing that? I wouldn't trust Trump on Ukraine, just so everyone knows, because Trump's inclination is to always make a deal and to get something for both sides. In a situation like Ukraine, where Putin invades, that's not a situation. That's I'm not giving you anything ever. If you wanted to give him some way to save face or something like this after completely withdrawing, that would be one thing. If you want to say, look, withdraw, and we'll say that, you decided to do the right thing and this and this and that, and you're getting rewarded with this or something like that, that would be one thing. But yeah, if you want to give that dude one single solitary square inch of Ukraine, that would be too much of a reward. For you don't want to reward people for doing that. But I have no idea. I have no idea what Trump is doing with Ukraine. But yeah, I would not trust someone who wants to make both sides happy with some sort of deal in a situation like that. That's a situation where screw you, you invaded, you're a dirtbag, we're not giving you an inch. Well,
yeah, he was supposed to. Zelensky was kind of hoping that Trump could put an end to the war, but that this could end with Ukraine becoming part of NATO, and also Putin not getting any territory from Ukraine. Apparently, I'm not sure. I haven't really followed the latest updates on it. Apparently, there is some Trump hinted or Trump signaled making compromises on that and discussing with Putin on forbidding Ukraine NATO entry and ceding territory to Russia.
yeah, I'd even be okay if there were just agreements on the table, like, okay, we're not going to join NATO and so on, but you're not getting a single inch of freaking land. Something along those lines. Because again, Putin can't just end this war, right? He can't just say, hey, I've been fighting for years. We had all these people die. We lost all this stuff. And we got nothing out of it. He can't do it, right? He knows he's done. If he ends a war like that, he knows he's done. And he's in charge, and he doesn't want to be done, right? He doesn't want to, like, oh, let me just think about what you're saying to this guy. Hey, guys, just pull out and end the war. Okay, that's the end of him. That's the end of him. He don't want to go out like that. So he has to have something where he can say, oh, you see, I won. And so you're kind of hoping, okay, what if we say, for 20 years, these guys aren't going to be in NATO? Then you could go, oh, I've achieved my victory. He needs to take a page out of like Hamas's handbook on this one and just whatever happens, as long as your country has survived, you can declare victory. So Putin, go hide in a tunnel somewhere for 15 months and then emerge from the tunnel and say, I'm still alive. You see, I've won. I've achieved great victory. Do that. But yeah, I don't know. I'd break bad, man. I'd say, all right, as of tomorrow, Ukraine is in NATO and we're all sending troops over there and we freaking dare you not to pull out, Putin.
This is the thing. Look, Donald Trump has been very, very tough on lots of people out there. And has been doing a really good job. I mean, I'm happy with my vote, to be honest, so far. But
he has been very, very based here.
The place where it really, really comes down to testing whether you have the big balls or not is when it comes to dealing with Russia here. Because Donald Trump could be really tough here and say, we're putting an end to this. I'm going there, and I'm making peace right now. And Putin will listen to me, or else. He could do that. Or he could say, I don't want to risk war. I don't want to risk anything. So we'll just make concessions and come to an agreement. That is the weaker approach. Yeah. Why does America have to cave in here?
Yeah, he should be running his mouth like, look, if we have to make Russia the 51st state of the United States to get it under our control and under the control of Congress, that's what we'll do. So Putin, you have until Saturday at noon to get out of Ukraine, or we're annexing Russia. That's what you do. You watch that little former commie go running back to Moscow.
Hey, I know there are some people who, because of political disagreements and political things here, are like, oh no, Ukraine bad. Why? If I asked anybody who has that position, it's like it's really just it really comes down to just politics and to disagreements between the Republicans and the Democrats, and you have to really get past that. It's a ridiculous perspective. I mean, objectively speaking, there is a war going on, and Russia, led by Putin, is the aggressor in this war. Is the aggressor and invader, violating international laws, violating the peace, crossing borders, and engaging in occupation here. And there is only one side that could simply end this war, and put an end to the suffering, and that is Russia. Ukraine is in no position to end this war unless they say, okay, we will give Russia whatever they want. And Russia, whatever Russia wants, is for Ukraine to get rid of Zelensky and to install a Russian puppet government. Would you do that to your own country? I mean, if you were Ukrainian, would you want that to be done to your own country? That you give up your sovereignty and install a government that is a puppet, that is a tool, a toy belonging to the invading force? If you want to be patriotic, think about patriotism here once again from that perspective. You have an invading force and a patriotic force. Would you really give up your sovereignty and install a puppet government? Because that would be the biggest sellout, the biggest soft sellout, weakling thing to do. It would be exactly what Europeans have been doing, which is basically to just bend over and say, hey, come, rape me. Everything is good.
Yeah, as far as, and it's just weird that you've got Putin. Do you want someone like take over the world? Then you have people that want to take over certain things. Russia doesn't want to take over the world. Russia wants control of Eastern Europe and Asia. A lot of they want to be bigger than they are. They want to expand into what's around them. And you just don't want to let them. You don't want guys like that to become more powerful and harder to stop. You want them to fail when they try to expand. So it makes no sense to say, oh, but look at Ukraine. Look, there's this guy and he has a bad idea. I don't care. I don't want Putin taking that place. That's a bread basket. What the heck is wrong with me? I need more coffee.
The guy is
bread
evil.
basket of the entire of Eurasia.
The guy is evil. He is an imperialist, evil villain. He is the devil himself. There is nothing European. There is nothing good about him. He is evil personified, Putin. In his whole speech of the declaration of war, of the beginning of the operations, his entire speech was all about Mother Russia big, Mother Russia great. Everything belonged to Mother Russia. We should have never given Ukraine any land. They're not even real people. They're all Russians. They belong to us. It belonged to us, and if we want to have it again, we will go in and we will invade them and we will take it all over. It all belongs to us anyway. They cannot make their own decisions. Yeah. It is all Mother Russia. It was always Mother Russia. The whole world belongs to Mother Russia. That is basically what Putin is. And I mean, he's in bed with the Islamists. He's in bed with the most messed up people in the world, and he wants to rule over everybody else. He wants to get rid of those who want to elect their own people. There are some people here speaking about Zelensky, about how Zelensky is supposedly a puppet or something like that. Dude, Zelensky is the guy that Ukrainians approve of and vastly by now want. Who are you to speak and suggest who should be in charge of Ukraine? So
by the way, look, think about it. It's the same mentality, right? So you've got jihadis trying to take over the UK. Say, hey, I don't want the jihadis to take over the UK. But look at this bad thing the UK has done. What in the blue hell does that have to do with saying that jihadis should take this place over? Same thing with Ukraine and Russia. But look, what in the name of common sense does that have to do with thinking that Putin should take it over? Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Putin is a scumbag tyrant. We don't want him becoming more powerful, period, ever. And so you basically got two options. One, you find a way for him to somehow save face while not conquering 1 square inch of Ukraine, but you allow him to save face with some sort of reward for ending the war, because you do want the war to end. So that's one. Option two, you break totally bad on him. And that's along the lines of, Ukraine's in NATO now. Get out of here, Putin. You have 24 hours or you're at war with all of us. And that's a guy who can't fight. If he hasn't been able to deal with Ukraine, he hasn't been able to deal with Ukraine. What would he be able to do with more than Ukraine? Not a lot. So I don't. Keep in mind, man. I do not want it to come to that. But if you do not want him to win at all, ever.
This is so funny. Like, there are some people in the comment section who are just repeating weird stuff that Putin said to them. It's like some guy says, "Oh, so would you apply the same standard to North Korea or China or any dictatorship?" Of course. I'll keep that here in mind for a second here.
Yes, I will. If North Korea invades South Korea right now, the way Putin invaded Ukraine, yes, I would be on the side of South Korea in opposing him, and I would say, do not let Kim Jong-un get away with 1 inch of South Korea.
Wait. Here's another person who said something like, mate, Zelensky wasn't elected. Are you freaking kidding me, man? Where do you people come from? Seriously, if you genuinely believe this kind of nonsense that you're spewing, these people were saying, "Oh no, Zelensky wasn't elected. He's a dictator. He forces." Dude, Zelensky is an elected leader in an election that took place long before Putin invaded Ukraine. You know how many people voted for him? He won an election, a presidential election, against the other guy. The majority of the nation voted for the guy. Over 70% of Ukrainians voted for Zelensky to lead them. What are you guys smoking? A second election, a new election, the election that is supposed to happen after that didn't happen because Ukraine has always had a law, which was also, by the way, applied in many other countries during war times, which is that if there is a war going on, elections will be suspended until further notice, which is why the last election did not happen. But even then, the polls show that the majority of Ukrainians support Zelensky. It's like, it's not up to you guys who read stuff online and to make judgments.
It is. It's up to me. Where I saw stuff on Twitter. I thought Putin good. I thought him good. Zelensky bad, Putin good. Me defend Putin.
It's not up to you guys to decide. It's up to the Ukrainians to decide. And some people say, "Oh, no, he banned Orthodox Church." No, he didn't. What are you talking about?
He banned it. Him banned it. We saw it. We saw Putin say it. Putin say it. It's good. It's true. Putin no lie.
Ukraine cracked down on elements of the Russian Orthodox Church inside Ukraine for one simple reason, which is that the Russian Orthodox Church has become a puppet of Putin. That's why. And have been spreading inside Ukraine very open pro-Russian, pro-Putin propaganda. So Ukraine cracked down on them and said, "We're not doing this anymore." Ukraine has its own Orthodox churches. It cracks down on any Russian church that spews pro-Russia, pro-Putin propaganda. And you guys are eating it all up. Man.
Very smart people. Shout out to Harry Flashman for gifting 5 memberships. We have Nabil Hagab. Wow, the real one right here. What doubt, men? Your child might become an apostate. That's true. Quran burning is not carbon neutral. Shame on them. That is true. Javier Millet on Islam. Afura. You know what that means?
No.
Me neither.
Oh, that's a phrase that he used.
Only country should be ashamed is GM stole it from us. Is GM stole it? What's that mean?
Only country should be ashamed is GM stole it of us. I have no idea.
USA is so great they created the United States of Britain.
That's funny.
Quran is on the way. Muhammad squeals with excitement. That's true. I have stuck my shawarma into the Prophet of Diha al Puff Daddy. John the Press Button says record numbers joining U.S. military, so those polls probably changed after election. Proud to be a Canadian. Proud to be a Canadian. It actually works, but I can't imagine Canadians singing that because they'd have to say, "Proud to be Canadian, eh?" Or at least we know we have maple syrup. Proud to be Canadian, but not extremely proud with the "we Todd, my fellow countrymen, keep voting in." That's true. That's true. You guys do keep voting in whoever looks like they're just fresh out of a boy band. I used to make fun of Islam, but one day I picked up a Quran and a great piss came upon me. I heard a voice, "Why don't you get on your knees?" I said the Shahada and great peace.
That's very beautiful.
Took me and the Quran. All that from urinating broom. You heretics! Kanye is really a prophet that has been prophesied in Surah Abadal 203. That's the leather straps of the anus. The anus will be covered in swag leather. Look, Kanye is covered in leather. How's this possible? Thanks so much for everything you are doing for the British people. Praise Jesus, the only king. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're going to make fun of you people in Great Britain, but it's to help you because, my goodness, you guys need some help. Royal Navy went after Muslim slavers out of racism. That's right. They're trying to stop these Muslim slavers. How dare they? Muhammad, ask not what the goats can do for you, but what you can do for the goats. No, but what you can do to the goats. The answer to your question is encased in 3 words. Classical Christian education. Good point. Classical Christian education. Solution to lots of problems. Let's have an all-nighter. Boys only. Mandis Growens. What are you laughing at? Man. Pierce Morgan. Ask not what you can do against the jihad, but what you can do to bend over for it. That's a good one. Mo had a traumatic experience when a creature similar to a dog got stuck in him. Yeah, and that's those were his first revelations in the cave. Can't wait to play 18 holes at Trump's future Gaza golf course.
That's good.
That would be good. Matter of fact, I'm going there. If they turn that into one big golf course, me and AP are going. And I've never played golf before except mini golf, but I would play. I would play golf for that.
Inshallah.
As an American, I never authorized any money for Ukraine. This all started in 2014 when our government instituted a coup against a legitimately elected government. You guys are obviously propagandized. That's right, we're propagandized. And you, the people who are serving Putin and trying to help him take over Ukraine so he can go back to the glory days of the Soviet Union. You're the smart and based ones who know what you're talking about. Thank you.
You know what the funny thing is? The funny thing is that America did actually help organize a coup in 2014, but you know that's true, but they rightly did so because they did so against a Russian-installed puppet government that was trying to reverse and go against everything that the Ukrainian people want and go full pro-Russia, and the Ukrainians started rising up and saying, no, we don't want this. And America actually went in and helped them. Now, should America help with every such case? That's a different question, of course. But you are accusing America here of organizing a coup. If they did so, they only did so in support of the Ukrainian people themselves who wanted it to happen.
I'd like to see a coup in Russia. Ooh, how you like that, fuzzy balls?
Beast.
AP, you said you met Caroline Preisler. What do you think of her party, FDP? Since you said you support AfD, is FDP more left? Cheers from Tateland.
Ew. I actually, in the past, found myself kind of close to the FDP. I thought they were kind of politically interesting. They're like conservative liberalism. They are kind of libertarian with liberal aspects. They identify more as an actual liberal party. And I thought they were actually kind of, they were good, but the thing is the party is just hopelessly corrupt. Germans don't trust this party. It's hopelessly corrupt. I know that, so she's an awesome person. She's a very, very good activist, but I said it to her face, and she's part of the party. And she was like very much against the AfD and against right-wing parties. And I said it to her face. I said, I agree with your political stances and all that, but you are part of a completely corrupt political party. Like nobody's going to even trust you guys. So she thinks she can change things, or she thinks the party can change. I just think we need to stop this charade and go with the AfD. But that's just me.
Audio is cutting out. Multiple people in chat notice. Bull. I don't see anyone in chat saying this. So you've been humiliated. No, hopefully that was temporary and isn't happening again. We need to avoid targeting Islam specifically and instead allow it to hide and be protected under an umbrella of the problem is all religions.
You say?
Yeah, that was pretty standard a while back. Fortunately, I don't see that as much anymore. AP, welcome back. FYI, Romans 10, 9-10, Ephesians 2, 8-9. Love you, man. Those are some Pretty standard.
Romans 10:9. I already read that. Ephesians 2:8. What is Ephesians 2:8? What does it say?
That is it's one of the most basic fundamental passages. We will get the best outcome if idiotic activists stop virtue signaling and just work with Trump rather than defying him on anything.
What was it? Ephesians 2:8?
2:8-9. And now we have the scripture reading from the Apostate Prophet.
It says, if the trajectory continues as it is. No, 2:8-9. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of work, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them. Interesting.
A couple things here. On the audio cutting out, someone said the audio has been cutting out. They were not lying. And then other people said audio never cut out for me. And HH says audio has been fine. So you got people saying that audio has been cutting out. And you've got other people saying, no, it never cut out, which means whatever it is, it's regional. It's regional. So people in a certain area or in a certain country or something like that are getting some interruptions. So that is not on me. And I cannot control the internet in your country. And that can be caused by all kinds of things. Keep in mind, it's like internet is like water, and that there's a certain amount of it in an area. And if a bunch of people use it at the same time, then... So you can always have something where a bunch of people jump on the internet for something like this, and it can cause interruptions and so on. Anyway.
And as they say, be water, my friend.
Be water.
What was the other reference? Romans 10?
Romans 10.
10 what?
9-10.
Oh, okay, cool.
Ukraine has lots of very rare earth minerals, especially in occupied areas that U.S. need for microchips. Deal. U.S. get mineral rights and make Ukraine win.
Muga.
But why doesn't Ukraine hold another election even though they're in the middle of a war? What are you even freaking talking about? Oh, but why doesn't Ukraine hold an election even though 10 million Ukrainians are displaced right now? The country is under invasion. Big brain. That's funny. I was actually making fun of it. And I thought, missed seeing you guys, just tuned in. Have you guys mentioned the hostages that were starved? Also, I closed and reopened YouTube and fixed audio. Oh, there you have it, everyone. Based Autistic says that if you're having audio problems, jumping off and jumping back in should fix it. Yeah, we've seen the starved hostages. I guess those were ones that weren't held in a UN building.
Yeah, I saw the news when I was traveling, so I didn't go live and say anything about it. I did think of doing something about it briefly, but yeah, the hostages, 3 hostages were released.
I saw you tweeting about that.
They were in very, very bad condition. They were taken to the hospital and found to have been significantly starved and mistreated and tortured and so on. Were in very poor condition. The one thing to point out also was that at the same time, so while those hostages were starved inside Israel, the rest of the population that supposedly underwent a genocide was fat as hell. Sorry. Weird. Shouldn't say that. They were very, very...
It's true. My main rule is it true or not? And that's true.
They were all a bunch of fatties undergoing genocide, supposedly, while the 3 hostages were starved. Donald Trump commented on it. He said it. He said they look like those photos from the Holocaust, right? Those photos of Holocaust survivors. That's what they look like. After this, when people saw how those hostages looked, Israelis got really, really, really mad. And that's when Hamas started complicating things and saying that they're going to delay the release of further hostages. One of the suspicions right now is that they don't have any other healthy-looking hostages to release. You know, I don't know.
Eli Brown says Israel torture their hostages. You mean captured terrorists? Yeah, I don't have proof of this, but I would expect they do because they don't play around like the rest of the world. And if you catch a Hamas terrorist and you want to interrogate him, I'm sure they use some pretty rough interrogation techniques there. Yep.
Well, I hope they do. Yeah.
If you catch a terrorist and this guy knows something, I'm pretty sure they have ways of getting that information out. And mainly it's because of interviews with these terrorists. When they release the interviews where these guys are talking, these guys all look pretty traumatized in their faces. And so, yeah, I'm guessing these guys just went through some stuff that convinced them to talk. Let's see. Thank you for teaching, David. Yep, that's what I do. Glad the dynamic duo of humor and Islamophobia are back. Pray your debates go well, and hard for me to pick between D. Wood and Robert Spencer, but mythicism is not helpful. That's true. That's why it will be humiliated. Just choose the cow. All blessings, AP, Dr. D. Wood. We shall. Did the centurion recognize Jesus Christ? What do you mean recognize him as what? Like recognize him from somewhere else or recognize who he is? I guess you're referring to the centurion when Jesus dies and the darkness is over the sky and so on. He says, surely this is the Son of God. There's if that's what you're talking about, there's kind of not enough to go on because a pagan Roman, assuming, who says something like that doesn't have to mean like divine Son of God. Could mean something else. Could mean just a righteous person, and you're calling him Son of God, and so on. The point is, people can use that differently. There are passages where there are passages in the Bible where Son of God clearly refers to a divine sense, but I don't think we know enough about what a random, otherwise unknown and unidentified Roman centurion saying it, what the meaning would be for him. So proud to be the 51st state. Proud to be the 51st state, eh? Listen to all the Canadians booing the American national anthem at hockey games. Fragile, yeah, it is. Bunch of weaklings. I'm Polish and know loads of Ukrainians, so I can tell you people saying Zelensky wasn't elected watch too much Tucker Carlson. Oh, that is true. And if people are talking about puppets, there are puppets of Putin. Tucker's one of them.
Tucker Carlson is a big puppet.
Big puppet. Ukraine has many statues and rallies.
Just imagine the guy goes to a grocery store in Russia, and goes around and is like, "Whoa, look at this! Whoa, look at the shopping cart! The shopping cart! Whoa, this is amazing! I've never seen something like this. You put a coin in there, and that's how you get the shopping cart. And when you put the shopping cart back, you get the coin out." It's like that's literally how shopping carts work everywhere in Europe. He went there to make pro-Russia propaganda about the most ridiculous things. I mean that's a puppet right there.
Hey, look, we got this Russian account here. Drug Skwangu says Ukraine has many statues and rallies dedicated to people like Roman Shushkevsky and Dmitry Kleskevsky, among other SS soldiers who partook in were initiated the brutal violent genocide of 1933. Let me be clear, Drug. I don't care if Zelensky tortures puppies for fun. I don't want him taking over Ukraine. So, go on, someone. It's funny, like, it's always the same. Look at the bad thing they did. Therefore, much worse, much more dangerous thing should come in and conquer it. It's the same mentality over, look at what Britain has done. This is why we need jihad to come in and subjugate them all.
The funny thing about Ukraine is that Ukraine was brutally occupied by the Soviets. You would expect these guys.
And millions. They killed millions, like starved them to death. Like they didn't want to waste bullets on these guys. Let's just go in there, destroy all their food. They brought in dogs to sniff out like even seeds and stuff, so they can't plant any crops or anything like that, and just starve the entire population. And then these same guys now want to come in and say, "Hey, give us Ukraine back. We took it fair and square by starving the entire population the first time. Give it back to us." And these guys are going, "Actually, we don't want you guys controlling us again because you guys suck. And then these idiots,
And
look at
even
what Ukraine did in 1943.
Even this guy here, like Drug, he's pointing out that Ukraine celebrates and cherishes certain people who fought with the Nazis during the Second World War. What they're pointing out here is that certain individuals who are considered heroes in Ukraine, who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Soviets, that they were at some point allied with the Nazis. Many of those, by the way, were like for a very brief time, maybe for a year or half or so, were fighting together with the Nazis because they considered the Nazis they didn't focus about what the Nazis did. They just wanted to be free from the Soviets. So they fought with the Nazis for a very short time, then they separated and went different ways and still fought as freedom fighters for Ukraine. To them, the Nazis were just a way to free themselves from the Soviets. Later, the same people who often fought the Nazis as well. Why would you blame an occupied nation for fighting together with another invading force against their brutal invaders whom they hated? And why does this come from some people who sell themselves as conservatives? When Ukraine was fighting, Ukraine was fighting against the most evil force, against one of the two most evil forces that conservatives
and from
faced in Europe.
From a Ukrainian perspective, at the time, who had really done more damage to you? These guys, right? These Russians. I don't like. I will side with anyone against these Russians. That's the mentality. And then you don't know a ton about the Germans, except, hey, they're fighting the guys who've been horribly oppressing us and killed millions of us. So, hey, let's jump on board with this. And here you are, close to a century later. Look, we're on the same side. This is why Putin must conquer them. What a dope,
The Soviets had their boots on the necks of the Ukrainians. Of course, the Ukrainians fought against them. And now you want to blame them for it? It's just so ridiculous, man.
It's pretty
People
pathetic.
with these Putin Tucker Carlson arguments, please just stop.
Al Ibn hitherto henceforth says supporting Russia, China, North Korea, or the Islamic world global caliphate goal are not America first. They are fools in supporting the modern day Axis. Yep, there are bad people aligning around some bad ideas. AP
It's
looking for
anti-West. I'm sorry, if you support Russia or China or Iran or this whole side in this issue, you are just supporting the anti-West axis here. It's the anti-West axis, the anti-West forces, the anti-progress forces. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that. If you want to do that, then I mean, I don't know what you believe in. You are basically kind of fighting for death and destruction here. You are fighting for those who want the West undermined and the West defeated and destroyed for the endless struggle by the Russian side of conquering the world and being the leaders and all that. They do this with the support of countries like Iran. I mean, who is allied with Russia here, even today? Who are their allies? Just look at their allies. Their allies are the Islamic Republic of Iran. Their allies are Hamas. Their allies are the Houthis, the barbarians in Syria. Their allies are North Korea. This is who you stand with. Please don't come and act Western, or Don't act Western. Don't act Western Christian when you stand with these guys. It's ridiculous.
But Tucker Carlson said that Russian supermarkets are super cool and based, and they have an escalator for shopping carts. So, wow, they should conquer us all. It makes it so good. Morons. AP looking for deep peace. Pray a chaplet for Gazans.
Powerful.
Just to point out, Britain is 3 nations: English, Welsh, Irish, and Scotland. Well, that would be 4, isn't it?
Wait, there's a joke in here, isn't there? That's interesting.
Scotland's not a nation. There are 3 nations and Scotland. If it's not Scottish, it's crap. We are all sons of God. That's the lesson the centurion learned that Lucifer could not.
Powerful.
Which centurion? Now, are you talking about the centurion in Acts who talked to Peter? Because that would be a different centurion. Trump should appoint Mossab Hassan Youssef as governor for Gaza, a governor of Gaza, once the U.S. takes over. Now that's brilliant, right? Can you imagine that? And now I'm issuing an executive order. When we talk about the leadership of Gaza after we remove Hamas, we need someone who's from there, ladies and gentlemen. We need someone from there. We can't bring in someone from outside and put them over the population. The population will reject him. So we need someone who's from there, born and raised there, but someone who's also, well liked by Israel. Got to be well liked by Israel, but also a native. And so, by executive order, I'm making Mossab Hassan Youssef the new king. He's been called. He was already called the Green Prince. Now he's going to be the Green King. The Green King. The Green King. That'd be awesome. That'd be instant legend status forever.
Yes. As much as I love Mossab Hassan Youssef, I wouldn't want to put him in charge of any population.
My first order, we must exterminate 90% of population to make room for the cows. What? Why are you surprised? I told you I choose the cow. Now I choose the cow and you all act shocked. Why? You think I was joking? What do you do? Let's see. Ukraine-Russia conflict is not our problem. Forget them both. We should let them fight it out. We have more pressing issues at home. Not quite, white trash. But keep in mind, we're not talking about like going to war and stuff like that. People like Putin taking over a place like Ukraine, that has a lot to do with you in the future. If that guy becomes significantly more powerful, that does affect you down the road. So these things do play a role. And that's why Western nations are interested in what happens there. It's not, it's on the other side of the road, so it doesn't affect us. No, stuff on the other side of the world can affect us a lot. I like neither Zelensky nor Putin. A region of Ukraine are ethnic Russian and want to return. I'm 56 and watched the region for decades, not propagandized. Then if they like Russia so much, they can walk over there. I would say that. I would say, if you like Russia so much, there's the border. You walk now. You have 24 hours to grab your things and go.
I honestly say that, and I know that when I said this before, some like pro-Ukraine people got really mad at me, but there is the eastern part of Ukraine that is like mostly Russian, and there are significant parts of the population there that want to be Russia, or that want to be part of Russia, or that want Ukraine to be a puppet of Russia. I would say if there was a compromise met where the war ends forever, but Russia promises or makes an agreement to never ever invade or try to interfere ever again, but a territory there becomes officially part of Russia, I would say, just do it and be done with it. You don't have to take control over a population that doesn't want to be part of you anyway. Just let them go and be done with it. However, the thing is, that's not the whole thing. Putin also wants Ukraine to be a perpetual puppet of Russia and never be independent. And that's just
the breadbasket. That's where the food is. Ukraine makes the food. The food grows out of the ground in Ukraine that could feed a future Putin empire. No, I also, as far as like places that are places that predominantly support Russia and so on, if that were part of a deal, I would say you have to sweeten the pot for Ukraine. Like, hey, we will take these parts that want to be Russian, we'll make those Russia, but here's what you get in return. But not by invading. I wouldn't make any agreements for invade unless you came to the table and said, here's some compensation for this land and so on. But notice, even then, even in the areas where you have a majority population that would like to be part of Russia, you have people in there who don't want to be part of Russia as well. What would you actually have to do to make that happen? You have to say, okay, we're drawing a line now. We're drawing a line. This part is now going to be controlled by Russia. What would you need? You would need the people who don't want to be controlled by Russia to then move to other areas of Ukraine. And guys, that's sort of the same. That's sort of a similar thing that happens with India and Pakistan. when a line was drawn and said, "Hey, Muslims are going to control this area. India's going to control this area," and so on. Same thing that happened with Israel. Hey, we've got people here and we've got a bunch of Jews here. And so, what do you want to do? If you want to be under the control of Israel, is here. If not, no. Some people ran, said we'll let the Arab nations wipe them out, and so on. So, whenever you say, okay, a new line is being drawn right here, and if you don't want to be on this side, you better move. I thought that's like when that happens with Israel, it's called ethnic cleansing and so on. So, would it be ethnic cleansing if Ukraine did that? Ukraine and Russia came to an agreement with that? I'm interested. I want to know. What
it is a solution that was done in the past, and there was during the Turkish-Greek War, when Turkey kind of preserved its independence after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. Turkey and Greece actually made peace by exchanging populations, which was Muslims in Greece, who were basically called Turks, would move to Turkey, and the Greek Christian population, or Christians inside Turkey, would move to Greece. So they made this population exchange and thereby made peace. It's like different countries have done it before,
Urinating Broom says, you don't understand. Russia stands against Western woke degeneracy, even though Russia has the highest rates of abortion, drug addiction, and suicide. Thank you for that awesome insight, Tucker Carlson, and really cool shopping cart systems at supermarkets.
It's so funny when people do this whole thing. Oh, Russia is not like Russia is worse in every single way than the West.
That's my issue. It's the same thing over and over again. It's look at this problem in the UK. Therefore, we need this much worse thing coming over and taking control. Oh, look at Ukraine. Look at this bad thing they did. Therefore, we need this much worse thing coming over and taking control. It's like, guys, you're stupid. A lot of the isolationist types are more anti-left than anything. Instead of America first, they're America only. In the wise words of Thomas Sowell, there are no solutions, only trade-offs. Yeah. So everyone there are lots of people talking about a lot of things, and they have agendas, and they say one thing that sounds good, but what they really want is something you don't want. I am theologically and politically conservative, and those people are not conservative, according to Edmund Burke and William F. Buckley Jr. and Ronald Reagan. They're right. They're super conservative and based. U.S. big mistake was illegal independence of Kosovo. This live stream was supposed to be about Douglas Murray talking about now everything's about Ukraine and Russia and now Kosovo and so on. Why do you think Byzantine Sassanids lost to Arabs? Why? There's no mystery here. Why do you think Zoroastrianism was decimated, whereas Christianity, Judaism still survived as minorities? You had the Byzantines were at war with the Persians. They were at war. They spent a long time destroying each other's armies. And when their armies were destroyed down to almost nothing, Arabs came out and attacked out of Arabia.
Here, this book.
Always
recommend this book. Best book ever.
It is
Robert
good book.
G. Hoyland by Robert G. Hoyland in God's Path, The Arab Conquest and the Creation of an Islamic Empire. Breaks it down very, very neatly and nicely with a summary, and then also in great detail, where it explains why and how the Arabs expanded into the Eastern Roman and the Iranian territories. Also makes it very clear that it wasn't, contrary to popular belief, it wasn't so shocking. It wasn't such a big surprise. It was actually very, very, very well expected, and was also a result of the Romans and the Eastern Romans and the Iranians being in great suffering and annihilating each other. Almost both were both were extremely exhausted. The populations were so tired. Both were going through major upheaval, and the rulers were forced to be replaced and so on. And in that vacuum, the Arabs come. the Arabs are at first underestimated because they always come and try to take stuff, but this time they come in big masses and and actually want to take land, and this comes kind of as a surprise to them at the time, but in the greater picture, it's actually not that big of a surprise. And why was Zoroastrianism decimated? Because it was a national religion, whereas Christianity was far beyond that.
And there's another factor. It's not clear where Zoroastrians fall on the dhimmi or convert or die spectrum. You'll have debates among Muslim scholars on so Christians and Jews, as long as they accept second class status and become dhimmis, are allowed to continue being Christians and Jews. Zoroastrians, that's a little more debated in Islam, whether they can be given dhimmi status.
Lots of them were displaced and fled and formed their own new Zoroastrian community in India, known as the Parsis, and so on.
Searching Deeper says, is this true? Wikipedia founder embraces Christianity. Larry Sanger. Yes, it's true. I started reading his. It's like 40-some pages. He said he was recording a video that may be up already. I'll have to check. But yeah, I started reading about his. So he went to school for philosophy, even though he's a computer nerd, apparently. But he became an agnostic when he was young, rejected Christianity, and then as he got older, reevaluated the arguments and so on, and has converted to Christianity. But yeah, so I only read the beginning of his discussion, but once I might make a little video on it to summarize, because again, it's like 40-some pages, so a lot of people aren't going to read all that. So I might come up with like a condensed version. The first debate among Scottish nationalists was whether Scottish nationalism was crap or not. Should be English or Irish, so yeah, you got the joke right. I got my new book. Oh, what is MHY? New book, The Last Pruitt.
The Last Pruitt. That's interesting.
Last Pruitt. Dexter's Lab says, does freedom require strength? Is death for Allah being strong or weak? Does freedom require strength? Well, freedom definitely requires strength to preserve it, because there are people who are going to try to take it away from you. And is death for Allah being strong? Well, you might be strong in the sense of like running out and willing to die and stuff, but it's weak-minded because you're accepting complete nonsense. David the Goliath says, Russia was created by the Mongols. Ironic, modern Mongols are a democracy, whereas all their colonies, Iran, China, North Korea, Russia, are dictatorships. Dumb Mongols. I'm super late, but OMG, Disturbed plus AP? Wow, it's like watching a crossover episode of your two favorite shows.
That's funny.
That's a happy cry face emoji.
Thank you.
It's cool to have the emoji and then the explanation. Russia
has his new book that just came out. I think.
Oh, that's the one. What's it called?
The Last Prophet. Yeah, that's
really?
what was just being.
Is he talking about you?
Yeah.
What is it? Is his book making fun of Muhammad?
It's about Muhammad. Yeah.
Oh, we might have to check that out and review it.
I'm ordering. I pre-ordered it already, but I don't know what happened to that.
Russia has nothing we rely on and are no military threat to us, as evidence over the last 3 years. I'm not talking about military threats. You're saying they have nothing we rely on. A Russia that then controls the Ukrainian breadbasket of that entire region. And what do you think then? What do you think? Do you think he stops there? No, he's going to take over something else he wants. And then he's going to take over something else he wants. And then he's going to take over something else he wants. You have to realize there are certain people who want to take over lots of stuff. And I mean, my goodness, White Trash Panda, it's the exact same thing that you had in Germany. All I want is this little thing. Okay, let him have that. Okay, now I want this other little thing. Okay, let him have that. Oh, now I want this. Hey, wait a minute. We're starting to think this guy wants a lot of stuff. There are certain people and groups you just don't let them start taking stuff. The Islamic world, that's one of them. They start taking stuff, they don't stop. They're not going to be happy with this. Russia again doesn't want to take over the entire world. They want to take over enough to be the world's dominant superpower again. They do. And it's just delusional to think otherwise. Wife is ethnic Russian Ukrainian. Russian is her first language. She refuses to speak Russian. She would unalive you if you called her Russian. I spent a lot of time in Ukraine. Previous commenter is a Russian troll. I assume you're talking about... I don't want to say white trash panda because
there are those who suggest, in line with Putin propaganda, that Ukrainians are Russians, but that's just complete garbage. Ukrainians are their own people, and suggestions that they are actually Russians are a complete misrepresentation of history.
You're Russian. Zelensky, first leader not from corrupt Soviet time. Kharkiv on border with Russia, East Ukraine. They smacked Russians in face when they crossed into. Yep, that's what you get. That's what you get, Russians. All right. We finally got through all the super chats. Thank you for all the super chats today. But let's get back to Douglas Murray here, talking about Great Britain. We forgot about Great Britain.
There's been a great revolt against that, actually, in the US by people who sensed correctly that this...
Oh, let me go back. Let me go back to what he was talking about, because
I want to just very quickly point out, for those who think that Russia is a great place, you should probably look up life expectancy. What's it called? Disability adjusted life expectancy by alcoholism per country. You will have a map where Russia is the only country that is very brutally red. It's because people are drinking themselves to death.
Yeah. Why can't we all be like that?
Nothing that they should or could feel pride in. And that's been done not just to every aspect of history, but to every hero in our history. America is hopefully, at the moment, coming out of this phase to a great degree. It's just slightly moving out of that phase where everyone has to believe that all the founding fathers were wicked, Abraham Lincoln was no good, and there's just nothing really to be feel pride in America.
That's right, coming out of that. Now it's USA, USA, USA all day.
Revolt against that, actually, in the US by people who sensed correctly that this was not a fair or reasonable interpretation of America's great past. But the same thing has been done in the UK, and with the same results, and not yet with the pushback that it should get. A poll recently found that 38% of young British people believed that Winston Churchill's statue in Parliament Square should be removed. Again, that's not too surprising, because the narrative pushed on that generation for many years now has been that Winston Churchill was a wrong-un. There are various stupid versions of this. One's like, he drank too much, no bad thing, I think, but like there are also versions of it that say he had some Victorian attitudes. Well, yes, of course he did, because Winston Churchill was born in Victorian England. So
here's an ongoing issue, ladies and gentlemen. You can pick anyone from 100 years ago. In any generation, you could pick someone 100 years before and say, oh, they had a wrong idea about this. See? And then you have to destroy that. Then you have to destroy that person and wipe him out of history, or just remember him as a bad person because he had ideas from a century ago, not our modern ideas. And what you do in that situation is, and this happens, it's interesting, he draws the parallel between the founding fathers in the U.S. and Winston Churchill, right? You had amazing people who did some amazing things without whom you wouldn't be here right now. And the world would be a very, very different, significantly more messed up place than it is if they hadn't done the things that they've done. But you have to remember them as bad guys because they were from a different time and had different ideas from you. And some of their ideas are now viewed as bad. And therefore, you can only remember them as bad, and you have to forget about anything that he did was good because you couldn't have done anything good if you were bad. And the people who think like this, I mean, are insanely stupid because guess what? A century from now, people a century from now are going to look back at something you believe right now and say, oh, that was really messed up and stupid. And therefore, we should only remember this person as bad. And it would be one thing. It would be one thing if that's all you said and it didn't have actual consequences. But the actual consequences are people who want to destroy and annihilate your civilization and your culture and your country and have it replaced by something else, by Islam or communism or something else. They use this against you. They destroy all of the important figures that built your country or sustained it or played a big role in your culture. They demonize those people to the point where young people think that you're better off just being conquered and subjugated by something else. And then what is it? What is it going to be? Communism or Islam or something? Things that are massively worse than anything you can point to in Great Britain or the United States. These things are massively worse. On what planet is Muhammad, a guy who had sex with a prepubescent girl, a guy who took the wife of his own adopted son after causing a divorce by lusting after her, a guy who encouraged his followers to go out and take female captives and do what they want with, a guy who's, when you actually get your mind around his teachings, that Jews and Christians are the worst of creatures, non-Muslims are the worst of creatures. Allah has no love for these people who are lower than insects. They're lower than dogs, and their only purpose is to serve us and be used as sex slaves and so on. And you see what happens with the grooming gangs. You start glorifying that because Winston Churchill, he had a bad idea, so we need to bring this in, which is 1,000 times worse than the worst Britain has ever been. If you take the worst Britain has ever been at its worst time, it's massively better than Islam. It's massively better. You take the worst the United States has ever been at any point in its history. Islam is massively, massively worse. So quit being freaking stupid and falling for this idiotic nonsense.
You know what's funny? You probably don't remember this because you frequently tend to forget things from your own life experiences.
That's true.
But when we were in Israel, there was this one night after having a drink, we were talking, and I just went away and I was watching a video by Winston Churchill. I was listening to a speech by Winston Churchill for some reason, I don't know why, and there was a timestamp in the comments about which said the most inspiring part of the speech, and I tapped on it, and it just goes to a place where Winston Churchill speaks, and he doesn't make any sense. He's just like slurring and like, and I came over to you, and I'm like, hey, look at this. It says the most inspiring part of the speech, and I tapped on it, and I played it, and then you started cracking up and lost it so bad.
I have no recollection of this at all. But it sounds funny. Oh, boy.
It was inevitable he'd have some Victorian attitude. On the plus side of the equation, and you'd have thought that this would count for something, despite the critiques of the right and left at the moment, he also managed to save his country and indeed the civilized world from Nazi fascism, which you would have thought should count for something. And here's the thing, it does. It does count for something. Yep. And we have to, if we're going to turn this narrative around, reclaim not just our past, not just to reculture ourselves, but to also reclaim the figures from our history who have been taken from us systematically for a generation now. There are some people who say that this is hopeless. But I don't actually think it is. And I'll just quickly say why.
You have it here, folks. This is an ongoing question that keeps coming up. Is it too late? Is it hopeless? Has too much damage been done to the fabric of Britain and British society? Is it too late to come back? And he's saying, no, it's not. So here's his idea.
All of this deculturation, all of this robbing of our past from us has been done very successfully in the course of just 20 years. And it's a very unnatural process. Most people anywhere in the world want to be able to have the right, and should have the right, to feel proud about their country, their past, their civilization, their culture. It's a rather unnatural thing, actually, to be taught to hate yourself. And what's more, to be taught to hate yourself by people who seem to adore themselves.
You love that? People adore themselves, but they're teaching you to hate yourself.
But if that was all managed in 20 years, then it means we only need 20 years, or preferably a lot less, to take our own story back. to say, actually, we have been a force for good in the world, a great force for good in the world, greater than most countries, that's for sure. That's a natural attitude. And it also happens, in the case of Britain, as in America, to be one that is correct and accurate. So I would suggest that after this period of stripping away, this demoralizing period that has been taught to a generation, we start to turn it around and reclaim what's ours.
You know what's here's the thing. When we're talking about Winston Churchill, there's actually something here that kind of that makes me think maybe it's not really that bad, or maybe things weren't just that good back then. It's Winston Churchill kind of rose as a great hero during World War II, when Britain was looking very pathetic. Like when the population of Britain was confused and hopeless and didn't have much energy to fight back against the invading Nazis. Hitler himself, Hitler and his top Nazis were very confident that the British will not fight back and that they will just submit and will be taken over and rolled over, and that Germany is too powerful for them, and so on. And for a while, Britain went with this whole appeasement policy against Hitler. It was Winston Churchill who rose as the man that everyone needed, the hero that everyone needed, who rose up and who turned Britain, which was demoralized and wasn't particularly patriotic at the time, into a very powerful force against the Nazis, and made them win against the Nazis. So the guy should really not be underestimated for how big of a turning point and how big of a hero and leader he was, despite being kind of an unpopular weirdo and an alcoholic and a constant smoker. The guy was like, he had to rise up and had to lead these people had to motivate these people to fight back and fight hard and win. And he did an amazing job. Back then, the British people weren't that patriotic and that great and that determined anyway, either. But he had to rise up and do this. So I don't know. Maybe right now the situation isn't very different just from back then.
Only difference is back then, a strong leader rose up and saved Great Britain from speaking German forever. And that's a situation which could have had cascading. I'm sure White Trash Band is going, but it had nothing to do with us. Why did we interfere in that? We should have just let it go on and let them take over Europe. It's got nothing to do with us. But I mean, just think about this. If they hadn't had Churchill there, they hadn't had Churchill, and the Germans had taken over Britain, all of a sudden now they've got a one front war mainly, right? And they came awfully close to taking Moscow as well, and so it was good for the entire world, really, really good. Things would have been significantly, massively worse in the world if the UK had not had Winston Churchill right when they did. If they had had a weaker leader, things would be really, really different in the world. Even though the United States and so on probably would have eventually defeated the Germans, this thing ended a lot more quickly because Great Britain had a really, really strong based leader at that time. And the fact that people want to destroy that legacy just means they want to destroy anything good that the UK ever did in the world. So that there will be no objections to them being conquered by jihadis and commies and everything else.
So maybe all it takes today is also just for one great leader to rise up and to change and to turn things around and to lead this nation to victory.
You heard it here, folks. AP has just nominated himself to be the next Winston Churchill.
Victory. We will fight at the beaches.
Something like that.
We will never surrender. Let's take this last super chat. David the Goliath says, Zoroastrianism died because it required state support to survive. Buddhism met same fate in Central Asia for the same reason. Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism could be practiced in private and thrive without state support. No, Buddhism is based. AP laughs like a Serb, so he's almost Russian. That's true.
That makes sense.
Forgot I was on a Christian channel, so you can actually see emojis in super chats, unlike AP's channel. Oh, that's yes, as far as explaining the emoji earlier. Ukrainians deserve autonomy, but I'm not about to start parsing the non-existent historical differences between two great Oriental despotisms.
I would. How about this? How about we just make Ukraine part of America?
We'll make Ukraine I forget how many states we're up to now, but we'll make Ukraine like the 55th state. So we'll have Greenland, then we'll have Canada.
Greenland won't be a state; it will be a territory. What are you talking about?
Well, we can. If it sweetens the pot, we can grant them statehood.
There are 50,000 people there. That's it.
Dude, have you forgot about climate change? It's going to be very nice property. You're going to want to move there in the future.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Huh.
Israel broke CF, killed 100. Well, what? Is that true? They broke the ceasefire?
According to CNN, of course. Earlier, there was a missile fired from Gaza, inside Gaza. It malfunctioned and fell back into Gaza, into a home, and apparently killed a 14-year-old kid or something. Pretty messed up.
Thoughts on Tom Holland's book, In the Shadow of the Sword? Just finished first chapter.
In the shadow.
He sounds almost like he doesn't accept the historicity of Muhammad. Yeah, I've never read that book, but yeah, I've heard that he was very skeptical because the people who recommend that book are usually people who are skeptical about Muhammad and so on. So but we'll be debating that on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be debating whether Muhammad existed on Saturday.
Good news about the whole Israel thing is, so Trump said it's up to Israel to decide, but they have till 12 o'clock Saturday. If they don't free all hostages,
all hell's gonna break loose.
All hell's gonna break loose. But Israel said actually, Hamas, if you simply free 3 hostages on Saturday, we can continue with the ceasefire. Do this. Hamas just confirmed and said they will free 3 hostages on Saturday. I wonder how this is going to go down.
I'll be happy for the hostages who are released. A lot of jihad has been going around recently. Stay safe, guys. No, you need to tell jihadis to stay safe from us. People credit Genghis Khan.
Jihad,
like Central Power. Yeah. He's going to do powerful jihad.
I will show you jihad, man.
People credit Genghis Khan for opening up Silk Road. They can forgive all his brutal genocides. If he can be forgiven, so can others from history.
And all the rapes.
Well, they can forgive him because he's not Western. Islam and man is as risky as rabies to a dog.
That's what he said.
Nazis were German supremacists, not white supremacists. They killed more white people than anyone in history.
That is true.
So happy you guys have a sane take on Ukraine and Russia. Yes, we have a sane take. Ukraine must conquer Russia and humiliate them and make it all Ukraine.
Exactly.
And then stop them from drinking themselves to death it's for their own good. Russia, UK, USA, gang banged Germany. Very rude to talk about that way. Jesus never surrendered. Funny. We will never surrender. Today proves we really need to crack down on cars.
That is true.
Yeah, there was a. Where was that?
That was in Germany.
That was in Germany.
Specifically, I think we need to ban Mini Coopers. It was a Mini Cooper with which the terrorists drove into a crowd. So we need to ban Mini Coopers definitely as soon as possible.
Definitely. I have to say, I mean, it sucks, of course, but it's good that he was in a Mini Cooper and not like an SUV or something like that. Could have done a lot
The
more.
good news is, so 30 injured. There is no single reported dead as far as we know, but there were still, according to the latest news, there were still some of the victims struggling in critical condition, and one of them was a toddler in critical condition. But so far, no death reported.
That's good so far. But, yep, again, good. So, for all you vehicular jihadis who plan on driving something into someone, yes, please use some small little vehicle so that you still get your rewards with Allah in your fantasy mind. But don't need to maximize casualties, you sick freaks.
I mean, it's a good thing, but seriously, what kind of imbecile does a car attack with a Mini Cooper?
Let me get the smallest car I can find, because then I can weave in and out of around corners and stuff like this. It will be impossible to stop. I don't want some big truck. And it's hard to go around corners and stuff. Churchill was erratic and caused the Norway campaign, which led to Chamberlain's downfall, which ironically made him PM. Also, Britain was a global empire. You see, this is why they have to be destroyed. It is good that Britain was not stuck with Chamberlain, because they would have all definitely been speaking German right now. Was the Iraq War good or bad?
Bad, good.
Everything like that is a mixture of various things. And which one are you talking about? First?
So I would say that there was one good aspect about it, but the majority of it was just really, really bad. There was one aspect about it, which is that Saddam Hussein did indeed have his endless, like people act like this is all propaganda. It's not. He for decades he openly bragged about how he's developing weapons of mass destruction and he wants to attack and take over and this and this and that. He also used weapons of mass destruction against his own population. He was also bragging about being supposedly in possession of massive weapons of mass destruction, but he was bluffing. It turned out when America invaded that they didn't actually have ready to use weapons of mass destruction. So. But the thing is, once they got in there and America took control of Iraq, it just turned into a giant mess because America adopted this whole ideology of nation building, of taking down the dictator and then engaging in nation building, and it just doesn't work. Why would you do such a stupid thing?
Doesn't work. You got to have the right kind of population. The only place I see right now in that general vicinity where something could work is Iran. And even with Iran, it would be better if it emerges from within rather than going and imposing it from without. But yeah, I have to say there are lots of places in the world where we have that mindset. Get rid of the dictator, just give people freedom and democracy, and all you're going to get is a disaster after that, because the people are going to vote in something that's like ISIS.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was the Iraq War good or bad? So, yeah, not great. What role has multiculturalism played in this? Well, to get multiculturalism to work, you have to really tell the people of your country that that other cultures are not worse than yours, and to do that usually involves constantly reminding people of the bad things about their culture. And then you'll have sort of a resistance to that. Wait a minute, why are you talking about my culture being bad? What's going on about that? So then you have to really start hammering that home. No, your culture's bad. It's bad. How dare you look down upon what these other people have done? Like, wait a minute. Look at 14 centuries of jihad. That's got to be bad. What? How dare you? Don't you know what the bad things you have done? Look at Churchill. Oh my goodness, he drank too much. And you were a colonial empire. Look at all the things you did around the world. How dare you condemn them? You have to just bombard people with this until they just hate themselves, and that way they can't object to these other cultures. Because keep in mind, if you're saying, hey, this culture of these guys coming in here and graping 12-year-old girls is no worse than your culture, how do you actually seriously say that their culture is no worse than yours? Well, you have to just bombard people with, you have no idea how bad your culture is. It's the worst culture ever. And then you say, oh, okay, well, that's not so bad. Maybe I need to look the other way as they're doing this to 12-year-old girls and so on. So, yes, it definitely plays a role. David says, AP, how was Deutschland trip? In my opinion, you and Irfan P. should interview the German scholar Thomas Alexander. Evidence Momo was plagiarist of early Gnostic apocrypha texts as well as scripture.
I don't have to interview anybody. I already said that myself. But yes, maybe we should. That would be good. Germany trip was very good. Was very productive. Very productive. Did lots of very, very good things, and also gave me new insights into Germany. And it was a very, very good trip. There's a lot of videos that will be coming and will be published over the next week or so. Yeah.
Let's see. Hi, David. I'm interested in getting your videos translated into Arabic and Indonesian. I would then use Google Ads and other marketing platforms to get them into those countries. I sent an email to your Hotmail. Don't know why you're telling me about that. You have my permission to translate my videos into anything you want.
I'm sliding into your Hotmail.
Dexter Sear says, Jesus saved demons. Not sure about that. I believe Muslims can change. Slowly they will become secular. We have to appeal to their humanity so they can overcome this extremism and hatred. You don't want to put too much... David, it's kind of irrelevant. It's kind of irrelevant. If you have a bunch of people who want to subjugate the world in a population of Muslims, you have others who are secular. Guess what? The secular guys will get eaten alive too. They'll just become targets too. So you can't say, oh, but you have some who are secular, therefore things are going to be fine. Look at the kind of Islam that spreads. It's the violent, aggressive, we want to subjugate you, we want child brides, all that stuff. That's the kind that tends to expand. And even if that were just a small minority, imagine having a situation where you've got a population and 20% constantly want to terrorize and subjugate and take captives and things like that. You've got a problem. Especially when I want to point out, Islam is not less dangerous because some people are will be secular, and so it's actually more dangerous because of that. If everyone was just jihadis, then everyone else would recognize this as a serious problem that has to be dealt with. But as it is now, it's, hey, we need to blast away at Islam because of all these jihadis and these guys supporting child marriage and all this stuff. And no, you can't, because then you're going to offend the nice ones. So you can't even complain about it. If you do, you're an Islamophobe. So the fact that you have a mixture actually makes it a bigger problem than if they were just all jihadis. If you had all jihadis, everyone would be on board and say, oh, we got to deal with this problem. Since you have plenty of peaceful, nice, secular Muslims and stuff, you can't say anything about Islam. You can't do it, because then you're attacking all these poor, nice people and so on. And so just keep your mouth shut about it. So it's actually a big, big problem. Two more real quick. I have determined that Pierce hosts Muslims and blocked AP because he is a cowardly dhimmi and doesn't want to enrage his audience. Stay safe, fellas. That's perfectly accurate. We agree.
He's a dhimmi and a dummy.
He's a dhimmi and a dummy. Are Egyptians Arabs or just Arabic speaking? Arabic speaking.
Mostly, I think they're Arabic speaking, mixed. Those who are closest to just ancient Egypt are the Coptic ones.
Yeah, and those who aren't actually ethnically Arab get pissed off if you call them Arabs. It's like there are Iraqis who get, even if they speak Arabic, they get mad if you call them Arab, and so on. So, yeah. All right, guys. Me and AP are both traveling tomorrow because we've got debates on Saturday. So hope to see you at DebateCon. If you're not, you can be watching. It will all be live. You can watch the epic debates. Should be a fun time. Be sure everyone's watching and sharing it. There were lots of obstacles along the way, things getting canceled, jihad threats, and so on. So it's good that it's still going on, and it's a big slap in the face to jihadis everywhere. I think they can shut things down.
It's going to be really, really good, and I'm especially excited for the debates that happen not on Saturday but on Sunday, because there will be debates such as on about OnlyFans and things like that.
Woo-hoo.
So that's exactly that's especially what I'm excited about. But yeah, we will also have some less interesting debates, David and I, on Saturday, and would like to see people there.
So if you're in the area and you haven't signed up yet, you still have time to sign up and be there. And if you can't be there, if you're in a place where you can't be there, be sure to be watching it. These will be some fun debates, ladies and gentlemen. Fun debates. And we will see you then. Catch you next time.
We'll be here watching.